Now, for more insight on this latest interaction between President Lee Jae Myung and his Vietnamese counterpart Tô Lâm in Hanoi on this Wednesday, I turn to a counterpart at the national broadcaster Vietnam Television. Khanh Minh, it's a pleasure to have you on.
Yes, I'm here. Thank you for having us.
Let's start with a few words on the overall atmosphere there as the two leaders are scheduled to sit down for their summit.
President Lee Jae Myung's visit is quite significant, not only because Vietnam and South Korea have built strong ties over decades, but also because President Lee Jae Myung is among the first foreign heads of state to visit Vietnam after the 16th National Assembly of Vietnam finalized organizational structure and key state personnel, where Party General Secretary Tô Lâm was elected as state president of Vietnam. So there's definitely a sense that this is a highly anticipated visit with a lot of interest on both sides. Vietnamese ambassador to South Korea, Vũ Ho, has said the visit could elevate bilateral cooperation with a vision towards the 2030-2045 period, while South Korean ambassador to Vietnam, Choi Young-sam, describes it as an opportunity to open a new golden era in bilateral relations.
In the meantime, then, what aspects of this summit are making media headlines there in Vietnam?
The state visit of President Lee Jae Myung has received strong media attention here. In the lead-up, Vietnamese outlets have been highlighting the depth of the relationship, describing it as long-term, increasingly substantive, and even a strategic anchor for the future. To illustrate, South Korea remains Vietnam's largest foreign investors with cumulative registered capital exceeding $90 billion and one of its leading trading partners with two-way trade estimated at around $88 billion in 2025, up 8% year-on-year. So far, more than 350,000 Vietnamese are living in South Korea, including around 100,000 Vietnam-Korea multicultural families. In tourism, South Korea was Vietnam's second largest source of visitors last year, with 4.3 million arrivals, accounting for 21% of total international visitors.
The first foreign leader to be hosted by the Lee Jae Myung administration upon entering office last June was the Vietnamese leader. And it appears that this is also the case for the Tô Lâm administration following its re-election earlier this year. What have Vietnamese pundits been saying with regard to the significance of Seoul-Hanoi ties, especially in light of the current geopolitical environment?
What you mentioned really underscores the significance of this visit. Vietnamese ambassador to South Korea, Vũ Ho, noted that the visit comes at a time when bilateral ties are at their most advanced stage, with both countries well positioned to contribute to shaping an open, inclusive and rules-based regional architecture, thereby supporting not only their respective national interests, but also broader regional stability and prosperity. Meanwhile, South Korean ambassador to Vietnam, Choi Young-sam, expects that the partnership between our two countries, seen as key cooperative partners not only within ASEAN but also globally, will become a strong pillar, playing a leading role in promoting peace and shared prosperity in the region and the world.
Khanh Minh, with regard to the public, what appears to be the overall impression of South Korea among people there?
Vietnamese people generally have a strong admiration and affection for South Korea's contributions to development in both countries across many fields. In sports, for example, the public widely recognizes the impact of Korean experts, especially coaches like Park Hang-seo and Kim Sang-sik, who have helped elevate Vietnamese football in recent years. At the same time, South Korea's entertainment industry is extremely popular in Vietnam, particularly K-pop, with a large and enthusiastic fan base. And there have been suggestions to develop K-pop training models in Vietnam to help nurture local V-pop talent. And of course, Korean brands such as Samsung, LG and Lotte are very familiar to Vietnamese consumers, not only for their quality products and services, but also for their contributions to employment and economic growth. Overall, the impression of South Korea in Vietnam is very positive, and that sentiment extends to President Lee Jae Myung's visit as well.
All right, Khanh Minh, thank you so much for making the time to share your thoughts with us.
Thank you.